Beautiful Monday morning here in the city of Abuja. Unfortunately, we are mourning the loss of two colleagues in the journalism world. Quite unfortunate situation there.
Good morning, Nigeria. And like you said, quite unfortunate. We lost a colleague of ours from Arise, that's Somto Chukwu, and another one, Kayode. Yeah, Kayode. And it's a sad one, the journalism profession. That this is happening, especially the Somto Chukwu on that an armed robbery attack.
It just raises our consciousness and brings us back to the issue of insecurity again, especially within the FCT. I think this should be a wake-up call again to the FCT minister to tighten security within the FCT. It's something that should have been averted, although they said investigations have been launched into the matter. But we should go beyond investigations. It shouldn't always be a reactive situation. We should always be preventive. Tighten up security. I usually see some checkpoints at night. Sometimes I don't see them. I'm not asking myself, what is now the effectiveness of those checkpoints? Are they really doing their job? Where did these people follow? You know, and all of that. So it's quite unfortunate, and my heart goes out to her family and, you know, the Arise as well. It's something that, you know,
one of those days, I was driving home in the night, I think around 10, and I told my colleague that was in the car with me, I said, every time I get to a checkpoint in the night, I put on the inner light, and because you might say you don't want these people around, but imagine you don't have police there. Is it robbers or thugs you want to have on the road? So sometimes their presence on the road speaks a volume, and we also hope that beyond just standing on the road, they will do the thorough job to ensure that, look, the frisk use their normal psychology to kind of check the kind of people that are moving at that particular, probably the odd time, or even in the morning hours.
And it's quite sad that, you know, we all make our way down here, you know, report the news, you know, put our lives out there for people, and at the end of the day, you end up being the news. Quite a sad one there. I must say our heart goes out to her once again, and goes out to her family, and also the Arise team over there.
Exactly. And also just yesterday, we're still talking about the PENGASSAN strike. I think day one, now we're entering day two. We learned that the talks, after several hours, went deadlock.
Well, we spoke to TUC yesterday, and we heard what he had to say. They said it's in the interest of Nigerians. I really hope that they have that at the back of their mind.
How much did you buy fuel?
Well, I've not bought. Well, I'm going to buy today, so I'm going to check.
I bought yesterday, just opposite down the road. It's 9:10 yesterday, and that cannot that cannot be in the interest of Nigeria. That will begin to and you see, it will go beyond just talking about fuel. It's going to affect power, because you're going to have the gas supply probably cut off and all that. Then the question is, when we have such crisis, is there no way we deal with the crisis without touching other things that are of national interest? So that we don't bring the entire nation into crisis just because we are strategically positioned to work in that environment. And we decide to hold everybody to ransom. That is beyond, for me, that is beyond strike. That is you using your own position, weaponizing your own position to ensure that, look, everybody feels the pain just because you want them to listen to you, and it's not
indeed. They say when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. I really wonder what PENGASSAN expects Dangote to do. I mean, this is a man that has a private investment. As much as we say that, you know, there are laws, but he would think of his own business,
survival of his business.
So I feel that they should find a middle ground and should not. If you indeed have the interest of Nigerians at heart, it shouldn't be pushing for a strike. Because when you do things like this, you send shockwaves, and you already see that, you know, taking effect at the pump. You know, Nigerians are suffering for what you say you are protecting them from. I wonder how that really correlates.
TJ, at the point where we're talking about attracting international investment, we've seen the president go around the world talking about how Nigeria is fertile for investment. And you're telling an international investor that when you come in and you employ Nigerians, when you employ Nigerians, you invest your foreign currency in Nigeria, you employ Nigeria, at a point, because of probably some labor matters, your business will be shut down. And the question I'd like to ask, even before now, is to ask PENGASSAN and to ask NUPENG and all the likes. How have you helped our oil industry over time. When NNPC was holding sway, what were those actions in the collective interest of Nigeria? We kept on we had no refinery. You see, getting this refinery, we're not saying that Dangote is licensed to misbehave. But we are saying we've come from a history where we never had a refinery, and Nigerians were saying, why didn't we have a refinery? Now we have a refinery. And the question, first of all, look, we would prefer to be importing. And a lot of people ask you, why, when we have a local one, the next one is, okay, I'm going to bring in 4,000 trucks. And now you said, why must you bring in trucks when we have our own middlemen that can carry those things? And I said, no, I don't want to deal with those middlemen. Now it is now back to the issue of all employees. No, so the issue now is it the sacked people, or the trucks, or the desire that we still want to import, or the statement that Dangote keep fixing, reducing prices and destabilizing. Which one are you focused? Is this fighting about?
Interest, because all hands points towards that. If you say that you protect the interests of Nigerians, and what we see clearly is the fact that you're fighting for your own interests, because I see no reason why unionization should be the reason why you should cripple all economic activities in the country. If you're on the negotiation table, then you should negotiate, try as much as possible to bring Dangote to your side. See why he should see reason why your members should unionize. And if you
Okay. All right. I think that's a court ruling, I think, yesterday also, stopping PENGASSAN from the side. But you see, they're already on the strike. And, you know, the question is, it's anyone exempted from obeying the laws of the land. Our guest yesterday told us that the procedure should be, you take them to courts. Indeed. But why have you not gone to court? Why have you resorted to self-help? Now, if there's a court ruling and you continue with the strike, does that mean that you're fighting for justice, meanwhile disobeying court ruling? How does that place you?
You see, you're back to where I started. I said it's personal. It's more of personal interest than, you know, the interest of Nigerians. And they should just indeed have that at the back of their mind. It just pains, or it saddens me that at the end of the day, when this kind of thing happens, is Nigerians that get to feel the heat. We get to buy fuel expensive, or we don't even get the product at all. Well, thank God they are at the negotiation table. They are going to still be meeting today. I hope that they indeed find a middle ground. And also, what is federal government doing to bring these two parties together?
They're already meeting?
You can't just, you know, hold the country to ransom and everything is just crippled. You know, petrol is actually a very significant part of the economic life.
Our life depends on it.
Number one, there's no electricity. People need these things to power their vehicles. Exactly. They need it to power their generating sets and all of that. And when you hold that, you know, down, how do you now expect the economy to run?
Yeah, and even the Labour Congress, TUC also joined in support of PENGASSAN, and NLC said, look, we are waiting to see what will happen now. NLC has placed the entire nation under red alert. You see, my worry, like we said earlier, is ASU, we stated this yesterday, ASU is also a union. How would you have felt as a Nigerian if ASU is fighting federal government, ASU, SANU, and NASU, and they decided,
that's what you see almost on the daily basis.
They decide to force even private universities to participate. We've never seen a situation where, because ASU has issues with government, and they say, okay, private universities, they must all join the strike. No.
I think it's even time that, you know, this kind of thing is taken to court so that we test the law and see how far it could go. Because I'm tired of this back and forth. Oh, you have the right. Oh, you don't have the right. Let's
you are fighting monopoly. Court. You are fighting the monopoly of
what
Dangote. Then the question is PENGASSAN not a monopoly also? Do we have capacity for other people to form parallel union so that we don't have a monopoly? We can't be fighting one monopoly with another monopoly.
Exactly.
I think the survival of the Nigerian nation is paramount. Nigeria at 65. Not at this time should we have people, no matter how powerful your union is, to hold the entire nation to ransom.
Indeed.
No, that is way beyond fighting for justice, fighting for equity, fighting for justice, because equity must also come in. Now, how is it equitable that every man, even my grandmother in the village, will have to suffer what is happening? Just because you know you have the tool And they must listen to you, because if this strike continues for about 2, 3, 4 days, our economy will be down. Mr. President is already celebrating the gains, and you are trying to turn the hands of the clock backward. No, it should not be.
Well, I think that is even the idea that Dangote is bringing into the whole mix, because he sees this kind of challenges, and, you know, when there's an issue, they call for strike and the whole economy is down. That is why he's also taking over, you know, bringing in those trucks that he says he's going to power with CNG, you know, just to checkmate all these kind of issues that we have. And, you know, to see that they are trying to still frustrate his efforts.
But Dangote should also play the game with a lot of caution. That you have the tool, you have the power, does not mean you go...
he should play with a lot of caution. He's a private investor. He's a businessman.
And he's aware that, look, there is always room for collective bargain. And when you understand that, you see, we cannot all be fighting for our rights. If you fight for your right, I fight for my right, we'll all conflict somewhere.
How about all of them coming together
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Challenge that's what I'm saying. Game?
That's what I'm saying, that, okay, Dangote also should have looked at the implication of sacking, because if you say they've been giving you a bad name because they want to hang you, you don't play into their hands. So going ahead to sack it, or you said sabotage. You must also have carried certain individuals along certain institutions, because you know what they can do.
Imagine it is your business.
No. I'm not supporting the strike. I'm only saying at the end of the day, by the time they reach a compromise now, you might be shocked that, okay, he will recall, and probably he will recall, but the nation has suffered. You understand? So, but in all this, where's the National Assembly? Still in recess.
Well, a lot to say, but we'll take a quick break now. I'm sure you're wondering why we are here battering on the table. Well, we'll go into what we have for you today right after this break. Don't go anywhere. We still have more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.